What's up? In this episode, we're going to talk about how to book your own tour.
I spent the last 14 years playing over 1,000 shows, touring 22 different countries, and become a top 40 Billboard charting artist. I fired my record label to go out on my own as an independent artist to market and release my own music, selling thousands of albums and millions of streams. The question I always get is, how did I do it without a label and sell even more music? This podcast is here to show you the way. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my music business and a loyal fan base.
So the way I survived in the music industry was booking my own shows, booking a tour. And how we did that was I would start out, where do I want to play? What city, what province, what country do I want to play in? And I start emailing clubs. I start emailing churches. I email the promoters. I email the youth pastors. I email colleges. I email high school, schools. We did anywhere we could to try and get a show and try and get paid for that show, get booked for it, let them know we're going to promote it. We would say, hey, my name's Chris. I'm in, this group Manifest. We do, rock, rap, and I try and really talk about my highlights in the beginning of the email. I keep it short and sweet. Hey, what's up? This is Chris from the 5-time Juno-nominated rock band Manifest, and we're going to be in your area at this and this date, which was always months in advance, okay? Always months and months in advance, because you've got to plan, and it takes time to book this tour, okay? So that's number one right there, right? And so you got to plan way ahead. And so I start emailing in a specific city until I get a bite, until I get an anchor date. And that's normally a show that's booked, that's paid pretty well, preferably. And the reason we call that anchor, because that's the first date that's locked down, it's good money. And then what we do after that is we start pinning about 2 hours out in every direction from that city, 3 hours out, 4. I think max what we do is 6 hours out, and try and get another show. Okay, and just start hammering emails about 3-4 hours out from that, because we don't want it to conflict with that show, and we want to play in a new city and play for new fans. Okay, and just again hammering emails, even asking the person, hey, do you know anyone in this city that might want to have us play? We're trying to book a tour. Okay, because it's a lot easier to get a referral from someone and connecting you with someone than you just doing cold emails. But you got to understand, I would hammer the emails 50 to 100 a day sometimes back in the day just to book a tour. All right, but guess what? I got results, and I got tour, and I got shows booked. I'll never forget, and I talk about this strategy in one of my courses on the $10,000 a month touring strategy, which is basically what I'm teaching you right now on this podcast. Is I would try and book at least $10,000 a month worth of shows. And I'll never forget, I did my first $20,000 month, because with merch and everything like that. And I know that might sound a lot to you. It might sound like a little to you guys. I know dudes that do sometimes $20,000 a month in merch in one night. But for me, I remember when I first got started, $20,000 in a month was just like boom. And this is going way back. I think this is before I was even signed, or I don't know. It was so long ago. And this is just touring Canada. Okay, this is just touring Canada. And so, you might think dang, dude, I can do this. And it does take confidence. It does take tenacity. It does take ambition to pick up that phone and even phone the people that didn't get back to you, or the people that showed interest and then all of a sudden they disappeared for a while and they stopped responding to your emails, and you got to call them and hound them down. I remember one time my wife was helping me book shows at the beginning, and I remember the guy emailed, he's like, man, you sure are, I don't know if he used the word ambitious, but you're really following up here hard. Okay, we want to have you a part of this. And I don't even think I was getting paid much back in the day, if anything, but because it was just a cool event and I wanted to be a part of it, because I think they had a skate park or a skateboard ministry, and I was really into skateboarding, and so I wanted to perform and I wanted to skateboard, and I just thought it was a cool event. And so we went there and we did it, and and it built my chops, it built my tenacity. But you got to understand, out of all the emails that you send, you are only going to get so many responses. And so that's why you got to keep sending more. And that's why you got to keep following up. And if it's somewhere where you really want to play, you need to think about following up with them and emailing them and contacting them in a different way. Okay, you tried email, didn't get a response. Did you try Facebook? Did you look them up on Instagram? Did you look them up on LinkedIn? Did you try in a different way? Like, you got to be creative with this stuff. Did you phone them? If you want this tour booked, okay, so say you got 2 or 3 booked, okay, well, you need a 4th one, right? Like, I guess it depends how many shows you want to book. Maybe it's just a weekend. Maybe you're just trying to do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then get back. That's what I would sometimes have to do back in the day. We'd just try and book that, and then I'd fly home, Monday morning or Sunday night to get back in time for work. But we'd book these 3-day excursions. Or maybe you want to book it way, way in advance and take some time off and book a full week tour. But I will say the weekdays are normally the hardest sometimes because, I guess it just depends, but they're normally harder, days to fill up, and normally the weekends are the easiest and they're the biggest. And so if you do have a day off, make sure you fill that up with press. Okay, shoot some press, shoot a music video, do a photo shoot, do sightseeing, set up some radio interviews, but try and be productive on that day. Or maybe it is a drive day, but on that drive day, you better be hammering the emails to try and get on the radio that morning and promote the show or whatever it is you can do to make it successful. All right, pounding social media, doing whatever it is you can to make that tour freaking awesome so that people show up. Because say once the tour is booked, that's just half the battle, right? Now you gotta get people out to it. And one way to get booked a little easier, and I wish I had known this back in the day and we started doing this later on, was instead of just, because I used to just promote me, just say, oh, it's just Manifest coming to your town. Okay, that's great. But if I say, hey, Manifest, plus we got a break dancer, plus we got this other artist performing, and it's a whole package, and it's like a full tour, a full night, I found that people found that way more attractive than just a solo thing, because people want a full night. Sometimes they want to ask you if you're bringing sound or not, but, when it's clubs and stuff, normally they have pretty solid sound depending on the place that you're playing. But if you can put a package together and get a bunch of artists, then you're not alone. Okay, and then you can have them help promote the tour as well. And then it's just a bigger thing. And then you can leverage and probably maybe even get some sponsorships on it and get people sponsoring it. Or you can hit up a World Vision or a Compassion. Or there's tons of, social justice causes that would love to sponsor your tour and give you money as long as, you're talking about a cause that you believe in and that you want to stand up about and share about. For us, I remember we did World Vision for a while to help sponsor a child and give a kid a home. And I think we still sponsor, me and my wife sponsor a child still with World Vision, even though they're not sponsoring our tours. We believe in helping kids out in third world countries. So, but that's a great way. I know a lot of dudes that have paid for their full tour buses and tours with that stuff. Once their fan base was big enough and their tours were big enough, it was a great income source for their tour to help pay for stuff. So that's something to think about. I remember we used to reach out to clothing companies, say, hey, I'm doing this tour. We got all these dates booked. Do you want to sponsor it? We'll set up your booth or whatever, or we'll set up a banner, or we'll wear your clothes. Again, I would always try and just email companies that I was like really stoked about. You know what I mean? I wouldn't just try and sell my soul for just cheap nothing, There is literally, guys, birds everywhere, seagulls, and there's freaking bird crap everywhere where I'm walking, and I'm like trying to do this podcast for you guys, and it's just absolutely disgusting. So if you're still listening to this, I hope it's made you laugh, because I'm like trying to dodge stepping in freaking bird crap as I'm recording this. So I'm going to turn around and walk the other way. So anyways, booking this tour, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort, but it is fulfilling. It is awesome. It's great to see the world. It's great to get your music out there. But I always suggest working with other people, or even trying to buy onto somebody else's tour at first can help you get some leverage, kind of figure out how it works, learn from a pro, or get on somebody else's tour. They handle all the booking and stuff like that, but then, the power and the control is in their hands. You don't know what's going on as much. You're not learning as much. But at least if you're brand new, you get to kind of see how things work and how things plan. And I remember at the beginning, that's what we did. We went on some tours and kind of experienced going place to place, planning hotels and all this stuff and getting things all figured out. But at the beginning of it, man, it's just a numbers game. It's you hitting the phones, hitting the emails, but making sure you got a good poster, all this stuff, promo, and then promoting the crap out of on social media, which I'll save for another episode. But I hope that helps you guys and inspires you. Go book a tour, plan it months in advance, get all your ducks in a row, and start emailing like a freaking machine, and plan out your numbers too, okay? You're gonna have to plan out costs. Sometimes I had to plan out flights, food, hotel, car rental. I had to keep all these things in mind, and I always based the tour on just what I was getting paid for the show. I'd never included merch in the budget. Merch was always just whatever the extra we might make. I never liked to call it or put that in my actual budget as income coming in, because I just didn't know. And I would rather it be based on the money I knew was coming in from the show, and then the merch money was just extra, which was always really nice, because then it would be like, oh, we did way better than I thought, because we weren't trying to count on the merch. And because some people, managers, booking agents, they'll be like, oh yeah, just do the show, you'll make it up in merch, and it's like, yeah, well, why don't you go out there and you risk that, and sometimes they were absolutely right, because you would slay it in merch. Like maybe you get paid $500 for the show, but you made a couple thousand in merch, you know what I mean, or 1,000 in merch, like, and it just worked out, so it really just depends, and you got to take the risks. And honestly, you got to take risks. You got to step out. You're in the wrong business if you are not willing to take risks and go out there, because like it's just a part of the game. So hey, have a great day. I want to remind you, a fighter is someone who never fails. A fighter is someone who never quits.
Thanks so much for listening. Please remember to leave a review. I love seeing all your comments, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. If you want to work with me one-on-one and you just need that personal coaching, you want me to listen to your music or have a strategy session just to talk about marketing your music or planning the next few months or even years of your career, and you just want some expert advice, book a time with me right now. Go to smartmusicbusiness.com/coaching and you can book a 60-minute session with me. Go to smartmusicbusiness.com/coaching.